Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. Joyce, it's the moment we've been waiting for months. Our final Emmy nomination predictions.
Have we though?
Well, I've been waiting to talk about something. I feel like we've been a lot of repeating.
I mean, technically, we still have a full week.
We do, but these are our final predictions until our real final predictions next week, because the nominations will be announced Tuesday. So we're recording this on Tuesday.
Well, you should probably say the date so people are not confused by your Tuesdays.
So we're recording this on July 5th. The nominations are on July 13th.
12th.
July 12th. So.
Wow, you're really bad at math.
I'm so bad at math. I'm so bad at dates. It's really disconcerting.
5 plus 7 is 12.
Yeah, that was a tough beat. Before I was trying to count out how many categories we're predicting in the predicting center and had to count by 3. And I got to say, I was stressed because I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of you, even though we weren't even recording. I was like, wait, 15 and 3 is 18. And then
well,
another 3 is
I don't know
21.
the answer because I wasn't counting them myself.
No,
but you're not the only person I know who's really bad at counting. Because I did at like my previous job, I did a listicle with someone and it was like just a bunch of gifts. So then I left her to like number it. And then she put number 11 twice. So like the headline said like 18 times whatever, but it was actually 19 times.
Yikes. I don't think I would have gone. I think I would have been able to count a list, but when I have to add things up without actually writing it down or something, it's not as good. So Joyce, today is July 5th. The nominations are July 12th. That's 7 days from now. So we'll probably make some changes, though maybe not much, honestly. I'm like, I could change a few things here and there, but I feel like I'm pretty set with mine.
Yeah, a lot of them is just like maybe 1 or 2 spots here or there.
And so we're going to do all 25 categories that we have in the Gold Derby Prediction Center. We're going to start with 5 categories we have not really talked about at all. And we're going to burn through them and then do comedy nominations, drama nominations, and end with the chaotic limited series nominations. So if you're like, we really don't need to hear what Joyce or Chris has to say about variety sketch series, you can just like kind of move along, but we'll just burn through these pretty quick, especially that one, Joyce, because there are only 2 slots for variety sketch series. My predictions are Saturday Night Live, which has like 8 to 11 odds. It's an obvious front runner and probably will win again. And then I put the Ziwi show instead of Black Lady Sketch Show. So
you're going out on a limb?
I'm going out on a limb. So I could get 50% in that one, but such it is.
You're gonna roll the dice.
Yes.
On this category. Yeah, I just have last year's nominees, SNL and a Black Lady Sketch Show, because why not?
Sure. Seems fine. I went out on a limb with Ziwi. I feel like the second season, still a popular show. Maybe like my rationale was people got hip to it last season, didn't vote for it because it was new. Now they're like, oh, Ziwi show. I like that. But who knows? I
mean, Black Lady Sketch Show is still popular and it did well last year. So
yeah. Joyce, variety talk series. This one goes to 5 now. It used to be 4.
Because the showrunners of these late night shows were very upset.
Correct.
That they only qualified for 4 spots.
They complained, and then now they're up to 5. So 4 other shows now get to lose to John Oliver instead of 3 other shows.
Just like what, the last 17 years? Yeah.
Yes. So I have John Oliver last week tonight with John Oliver. I have The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel Live, The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and then I put Desus and Mero in.
Because you talked to them.
Because I talked to them, because they actually have they've won different things. They won at the WGA Awards like 2 years ago. I don't know. I think and they were nominated again this year. I think they could get in with a 5th slot.
I just put my guy Conan back in. He was nominated last year when the show actually ended, but it's eligible because, he ended at the end of June last year.
Right. So that's why I didn't put him in, because I feel like people already were like, we did Conan last year. We celebrated Conan last year.
But he's still eligible, so.
Yeah, but I don't think I think that's it.
Like, he's not going to win.
No, I don't even think I don't know if he's going to get in. The obvious pick would have probably maybe also been Seth Meyers. Neither one of us have him in.
Well, Seth has never been nominated.
Right.
It's very sad.
And I love Seth. He seems to really want to get nominated, right? He does a lot of Emmy press. And I wonder if people are just like, we're still not going to nominate him. It would be great if he got in. I'm a big Seth Meyers fan.
It's gone into writing a couple times. but yeah, it hasn't been able to break through into series. So
this would be the year with the extra slot, or the 5th slot, not an extra.
It's not really an extra.
Not an extra slot. 5th slot. But I still think Desus and Mero gets it.
Like last year, I had 5. They just didn't have enough submissions, and then they complained.
Reality host Joyce. My predictions are RuPaul, Nicole Byer for Nailed It, Padma Lakshmi for Top Chef, the host from Queer Eye, Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman for a very cute show called Making It, which I've actually seen a few episodes of, and then Jeff Probst for Survivor.
Oh, wow. You're going back to Jeff.
I am. And I have Survivor later here too. And I'll talk about it when we go.
Why do you think Survivor will make a comeback after?
So I thought this season was actually pretty well received. And I think
that's like, every season of Survivor.
It's not though. I felt like this one had a little more of like a little more like, hey, remember Survivor is really good. And I just think like there was a little more buzz around the season than previous the last few times. So that's why I put him back in, and the show back in. Spoiler alert.
I mean, the show hasn't been nominated since 2006. And then he won the first 4 times this category existed, and then they just dropped him like a bad habit. So
I think he's coming back. I think the whole thing's coming back.
Do you even watch Survivor?
I've seen it like on and off. It's something I've seen. I don't watch I don't watch any of these shows.
You know my history of Survivor
is what?
I've never watched it because because back, remember when it premiered in 2000?
Yeah, I used to tape it on VHS. Yeah,
it premiered a day for my birthday. And it was a huge hit. And then obviously CBS renewed it right away, and then it slotted it against Friends on Thursdays. And I'm a huge Friends fan, so I just never watched Survivor because it was against Friends.
Right.
Yeah.
So I used to tape it on VHS, and I had it set up so I think you could watch something and tape something else. Remember, you used to be able to do that. You can do that. So I used to watch Friends and then tape Survivor.
Oh no, never watched Survivor at all. I was always on must-see TV duty.
No,
so
I understand that. I mean, it's must-see.
That was also
TV.
when NBC started doing supersized episodes
and
did like 40-minute episodes of Friends. Yeah.
So who do you got here?
I have RuPaul, Queer Eye, Nicole, Padma. So this year they did not. They submitted Padma solo.
Yes.
Because the last year I think they did her, Tom Colicchio, and Gail Simmons, and I think the year before that it was Padma and Tom Colicchio. So now it's just back to Padma. And I didn't watch this last season of Top Chef, but I understand that she took on more duties, or not more duties, but she was just more prominent, basically. Yes. And then I have the Shark Tank peeps. And Amy and Nick for me.
Nice. I'd also thought about putting Maya Rudolph and Andy Samberg in for Baking It, I believe it's called, right? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
But I just didn't think a great pairing and a cute show, but I don't know if people are aware it exists.
They're very lazy in this category.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't think they're going to go for it. Competition program, Joyce. I have RuPaul's Drag Race, The Amazing Race, Top Chef, The Voice, Nailed It, and then I threw Survivor in at the end. Going back.
I have RuPaul, Tar, my favorite. And I don't know if it could actually win again this season, but I think this is its best chance at winning again, since it last won 8 years ago. Since this was the COVID season, they had to stop production for like 7 months. And then they actually picked up production during COVID with the charter jet and everything. So and I have Top Chef, The Voice, Nailed It, and American Ninja Warrior.
Nice. And then for animated program choice, this one I was like, they're surprised. There's a lot of animated shows, so I ended up going with pretty chalk for 5. But I was like, I'm not convinced that the voters will be anything but lazy here. But I wonder if they're not. I think there's a lot of options. But I went with The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, Big Mouth, Rick and Morty, and South Park.
Okay. I did The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, Big Mouth, South Park, and Arcane.
Nice. A lot of promo for Arcane.
Yeah, it's I watched it with my friend because he wanted to watch it. I wasn't really into it, but it is very well made. The voice acting is really good. So yeah, I could see it just having the passion to sneak in.
Yeah, I think that can happen too. It's 6th in our odds, so you're not on a limb, not on that much of a limb, at least. So that's it, Joyce. That we did those that we just burned through those. Now we'll go to not the all these categories that we love equally, but maybe we love these a little bit more. We'll start with comedy. Comedy series, Joyce. We've talked about this a lot. Here are my 8. Hacks, Barry, Ted Lasso, Only Murders, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Abbott Elementary, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and The After Party.
Well, you're sticking with The After Party.
I am. I honestly, this one I was looking at it and I was like, but what if it was 7?
It's in drama series. Really, actually, this could be like 6 too.
Probably.
I think like there's a very obvious 6 in both comedy and drama.
So I went with Curb, which I haven't had in very much, but why not? It's been nominated, I think this is the 10th or 11th season, right? And it's been nominated.
No, so I put
Curb
her back in too.
Yeah.
It's only ever missed for season 1.
And there's no reason for it to miss, especially in a category where it's not incredibly strong. That there aren't, like you said, there's like 6 nominees probably. I think Abbott Elementary is pretty set as the 6th. And then you have Curb. I went with The After Party. You could have gone with any number of different shows. I'm not convinced Atlanta is going to get in, even if After Party isn't the one that takes its spot. I think something else will. But anyway, what do you got?
I have Hacks, Barry, Ted, Only Murders, Abbott, Maisel, Atlanta, and Curb. Like, I think Atlanta can still get in just like in the similar way to Curb getting in, even if it doesn't really get in like in acting or anywhere else.
Right. So I just think that the differences between Atlanta and Curb are both would be like legacy name checks kind of, right? But I think the response to Atlanta actually ended up being a little divisive. Like people didn't really like it, especially the latter half of the season. A lot of the critics who gave it good reviews, at least on like Vulture and stuff, were like, actually the season as a whole was not as good as the screeners that they sent. And I wonder if people
I know someone, maybe we're talking about the same person, who after the season was over was like, I wish I had the full season before I reviewed season 3 of Atlanta, because they only seen the first couple.
Right. Yeah. And I wonder if, again, we could be overthinking this and maybe a Television Academy voter is like, just got back from,
I still have it in. So.
Having a nice summer, you throw it in, you have it in still, like just write it in and it's fine. But I think there are other options here that you could have put in. After Party, I really love, obviously, and I think that would be like a true passion pick if it gets in.
So the thing is, even though Atlanta was divisive and, people were not, maybe ready for the numerous standalone episodes, like they were still well received. It was just kind of like, we want to hang out with the people we know and love after waiting 4 years, right? So I think there are like, I know someone else who loved this season, and literally every week on Facebook, he would write like a whole essay about like how great that episode was. So I know people who love the season, and then people who are also like, respect the season, but we're just kind of like meh on it. So that's why I think it gets still get in, even doesn't get in like.
I could see that. It reminds, I guess, I think it was better received than this, but it just feels like Master of None from last year to me.
But I think Master of None, like it took like a wider left turn.
It did. And I also, like I said, I think people.
I mean, I never predicted Master of None last year.
No. So. And people didn't like Master of None last year. They did like Atlanta. Like you said, it's more of a mixed response. Though I like, if After Party doesn't get in, I mean, I was actually thinking of going back to like What We Do in the Shadows, which had gotten in previously. And people, again, like this season as well, season 3.
Yeah, I think like I had What We Do in the Shadows before I replaced it with Curb. So we got in 2 years ago last time it was eligible, and it got those 3 writing nominations, and it only submitted 2 this time in writing, so we can't get 3 again. But I'm wondering like maybe we'll just get 1, and I don't know. Like I think like for that like kind of cool spot too, it has to compete with Reservation Dogs.
Right.
Which I can also see is getting a writing nomination.
And I wonder how Our Flag Means Death, a Taika show that could actually siphon maybe similar audience. I feel like they're all in the same palette of humor, let's say.
Well, yeah, they all involve him.
Yeah.
too.
So that's why. The other shows I was looking at, I would never predict these, but I want to just mention two that I was just like, what if, Joyce? And we're totally missing these. And one of these will actually come up later because I'm such a hack. But Ghosts and Peacemaker. Popular shows, I feel like, that were
I also
well
watched Peacemaker with my same friend who made me watch Arcane.
Right. I feel like they were big shows that people watched. And if in a situation like this where there are 8 slots and there's 6 shows, maybe I could see one of them just sneaking in as like a holy cow. Like What We Do in the Shadows was a surprising nominee when it got nominated 2 years ago. I feel like you could have something like that with these as well.
But it also wasn't a new show, so I think it might need to be a little bit more like a Schitt's Creek to build
maybe. I mean, I would say like it wasn't a new show, but I don't think people watched it before the pandemic. I think people caught up with season 1 and watched season 2 during the pandemic.
We're talking about new shows now,
right? But I feel like What We Do in Shadows season 2 was like performed like a new show.
I think like Ghosts, it's, I feel like Abbott kind of stole its thunder as the network comedy. But it would be cool if it got in. I don't know if there's like room for both of them, because I think Abbott is in.
Right.
And Peacemaker, it just like maybe it could get like I think like Danielle Brooks is really good in it. So maybe it could like sneak an acting nomination. It just feel like the opening credits also very fun. If I also find them too long though, but like
great opening credits, and that song is awesome, and I listened to it a million times.
That just still too long for me. I just feel like that's the type of show that obviously has very strong, very online fan base, and I think that might be skewing people's perception.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have it in. I was just saying, if it got in, I would not be shocked. That's so.
Here's the thing: like something like Peacemaker, like the fact that you brought it up and didn't bring up something like Julia, like I think speaks to that, because I think the audience for Julia, the target audience, is like a Kaminsky audience. They're not online,
right?
You know,
I had Julian a lot for a while. Just feel like very fine show that people liked, but I just haven't seen people talking about it. Am I crazy?
Yeah. So I was saying the other day to someone how like I watched the whole thing back in like April or whatever when I had like all the screeners, and it's a delightful show.
Very nice.
It puts a smile on your face. Sarah Lancashire is great. Phoebe Newworth, who did not submit herself, is great. David Hyde Pierce, great. But I don't think it's like anyone's favorite show. But that could also like help it on an unlimited ballot. It's just like, oh, I enjoy that show, Julia.
Yeah.
Like I don't think anyone hates the show.
No one hates it. I just was like, I'm just surprised that we haven't seen like, where is like the big, like there are certain shows that we've seen over and over again across the internet doing like FYC stuff, let's say. Like a lot of interviews and a lot of FaceTime with the casts. And Julia has not been part of that. And I think if it was, maybe it would have gotten a little more juice. Again, it could get in. I wouldn't be shocked, but I just don't think it's going to make it.
I mean, they did upload the pilot on YouTube for free when it premiered.
Right.
And I got a lot of views. So I don't know, how many people watch the rest of the show because of that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like, like I said, like Phoebe Newworth did not submit herself, so she just like doesn't care about this stuff, which is totally cool. I respect that completely, because I'll be like, yeah, whatever, I don't have time for this either. So we don't have a Netflix show.
No. And I guess the option would be Russian Doll.
Yes.
Don't believe that was as, I think that also was not as well received in season 2.
Yeah, and I would say, unlike Atlanta, which was just kind of divisive in a like surprising way, I think with Russian Doll, it was more, the sentiments more like, oh, maybe it should have just been one season.
Yeah, I think it didn't feel very essential, let's say.
Like I can see it getting writing or like Natasha, but
yeah. Also, Netflix just doesn't have a lot of, I mean, I'll have multiple dramas in for them, but like not.
What about Emily in Paris?
No, I don't think so.
Or Cobra Kai?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Cobra Kai could possibly get in with this ballot and this like lack of.
I like last season of Cobra Kai.
Consensus nominees. I wouldn't be surprised. It is actually a very, very popular show. So if we're going on that, It's like people watched it, so it could just get in because of that.
So neither of us has the flight attendant.
No. RIP to one of our beloveds that hopefully will not come back for a third season. I think season 2 is.
And Kelly doesn't want to, so.
And I don't blame her.
Which I think is the right decision.
Same. But I don't think the second season
finale was silly in in a fun way, not necessarily in a bad way. But it's like it didn't land completely, but it was like silly.
It was incredibly silly, and I thought I think we talked about this at the time. The stuff with the podcaster character was too silly for my liking, I think.
But again, I don't know how you watch that finale and be like, the show was not a comedy, because that's
no, it's a comedy. It's very funny. Let's go to next category, Joyce. A comedy actress, excuse me. Here are my 6 nominees. And again, not the easiest to come up with 6. And I think there's a set 5 probably. But my nominees were Jean Smart for Hacks, Rachel Brosnahan for Mrs. Maisel, Quinta Brunson for Abbott, Kelly Cuoco for The Flight Attendant, Tracy Ellis Ross for Blackish, and I threw Rose McIver in for Ghosts.
You're going in on Ghosts now?
Yes, I am. I just think it's actually popular, and I think it's popular with people who would vote for the Emmys. I think it's a show that probably was widely watched, and I know it's an.
I don't think it's just popular with people who vote for the Emmys. I think it has a wide. I don't think it's like a
no, but I think it profiles of the people, the demo who would watch it is like the same demo as an Emmy voter, let's say. Like, you're not watching it, you're not making appointment TV to watch Ghosts.
I don't watch much appointment TV anymore, like live TV, you mean?
Right.
Because a lot of it I just watch on screeners.
Sure.
This is like it's a first world problem.
But you wouldn't watch this live. I think my parents would have, and I could see my parents being like,
I can't remember what was the last episode of TV I watched live as it aired. I don't know.
I mean, probably some HBO show on like Sunday night, I would say I would watch. Like Succession, I watched live.
Well, that's because you didn't want to watch the screeners.
Correct. So I was watching those live. That was it.
So
yeah. But yeah, I went against, I had a lot of other options, and I have had Selena Gomez and Sarah Lancashire in there as well, but no, I took them out for Rose McIver. Going out on a limb.
I have Jean, Quinta, Kaylee, Rachel, Tracy. I still have Sarah, but I'm debating replacing her with someone like Issa Rae.
I could see that. I like I said, I'm not convinced that Sarah has enough juice, and I think that's more of we'll see in season 2, especially depending on when Hacks is on cycle. If they do when they do a season 2 of Julia, does her performance generate a lot more buzz, especially if it's snubbed here? And people are like, wow, she should have got nominated. Or, oh, I thought she was going to get nominated. I just didn't take it seriously enough or whatever.
Like I can see her just being Julia's only above the line nomination, and it will make total sense.
Yes.
And I could also see her being snubbed, and that'll also make total sense.
And neither of us then have Selena Gomez.
I never had her. I know you did.
I did. And I just don't think, I don't even think the second season would have helped. Remember, we had talked about that. It just doesn't seem like people are really talking about her as much as you want them to be, I guess.
What episode was today? Was it the third one today? I don't know.
3 and 4, or did they do 2 at once? I forget.
I think it premiered with 2, and then it's just 1 a week, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Is be the one from Bunny's perspective. I'm not sure. I don't know. I've seen the episodes of season 2, and she has some nice stuff at the end towards the end of the season. So if she gets in, that might help her. But she didn't get in at SAG, which is a lot more populist than the Emmys. And I really like her on the show, and I think she's great.
Me too.
But I don't know if she is also most people's favorite part of the show.
Yeah, I think that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, I think when you hear people talk about their favorite parts or their favorite performances, it's like, oh, she's great, but like Martin Short, LOL.
Right.
And then like Steve Martin has the finale in season 1.
I mean,
So
she is legit good. I really like her on it as well. I would love to see her get nominated. So hopefully we're wrong and she does, but I don't have it
well,
predicted.
so like remember last year only had 5 slots.
Right.
And they just went back to Allison Janney and Tracy Ellis Ross, and then they nominated Adie Bryant just because they know her from SNL and they're already nominating her for SNL.
Right. That's the other thing. I was just like, but I know they're watching Only Murders, so I guess that's the reason you would say that she could get in, because they're already like none nominated for comedy and Steve Martin and Martin Short. So there is a world where she gets in. It would not be a total shock, but I just don't see it. One person we both have pretty high compared to the odds is Tracy Ellis Ross, but it just seems so obvious that she'll get nominated.
Yeah, I mean, I just, she like has made it in the last 2 years after she got dropped 3 years ago. Yeah, in 2019. And yeah, she made it back in the last 2 years. Last year in a field of 5. So.
For actor, Joyce, I have Bill Hader for Barry, and I have him winning, so that'd be 3 for Bill. I have Jason Sudeikis, Steve Martin and Martin Short, as we were just talking about, for Only Murders, Anthony Anderson for Blackish, and then Larry David for Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Jake Johnson. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. Maybe next time for Mix.
You're going back to Larry David.
I am, yeah.
Who was snubbed last time.
Yes.
I mean, that would be cool. Got in.
I just look at this list and I'm like not convinced. Again, we talked about it with Atlanta. I mean, you do yours and then we'll talk about this.
I mean, I think that the 4 most people, if not everyone, has the top 4: Bill, Jason, and the Martins, Steve and Short. And then I have Anthony Anderson and my guy Don Cheadle.
So you're going with Don Cheadle. Neither of us said Donald Glover. He would be like, he's 5th in the odds. Like we had talked about for Atlanta. I also don't think he was on it just because of all his
No, he wasn't. It was, just between the standalone episodes in which none of the regular cast was in, and then he kind of just took a back seat after earned it. So
I don't have him in. So you have Don Cheadle. I guess make the case. They do love Don Cheadle. They nominated him for
Don Cheadle.
3 seconds of
iconic nomination last year
for War Machine.
Yeah, for walking around in the Smithsonian with Anthony Mackie in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He should have won, honestly, because come on, you gave it to Claire Ford for reading a speech for 2 minutes too. So, but he just gets in for these Showtime shows.
And he is well liked. I mean, I can see
Black
it.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he finally wins for the Wonder Years.
So he could. I think he would. He's great on the Wonder Years as the narrator.
And also, again, similar to comedy actress last year, also a field of 5. They went back to OMH Macy for Shameless, the last season of Shameless.
Right. That's true.
After, I mean, you could say they dropped in because of, the college admission scandal as well for a couple years, but they still went back to him instead of going with any of the Cobra Kai guys, or like Alan Tudyk or someone,
So that's why I went back to Larry, not because of any college admission scandal, but I was just like, when they're just faced with like going back, like
they go with like familiar names, and they nominate Keenan for Keenan last year, which just is cancel. So he could technically still get back in. And
so like apologies to folks who I considered, including Reese Darby for Our Flag Means Death and John Cena for Peacemaker, and obviously Jake Johnson for Minx, but those are all like newer faces, and in the end they're just gonna be like, Larry David is funny. That guy's funny.
I think we talk about this in one of our columns, but this category in particular, one of the reasons is just kind of boring, like no shade to any of the nominees or winners, but this is probably the hardest category for a newcomer, whether you're just like a new face on the scene or someone who's never been nominated on a new show, to break in. Yeah. It's just kind of like a fortress. Right. It's like they just go back to the well so many times with familiar people and shows that they like. Right. Or not, or maybe don't even like at all, but it's just like they know the people on them. It's easier to like know the enemy, right? Isn't that one of the things, right? Or like that's a cliche. Joyce, supporting actress. My nominees are Hannah Einbinder for Hacks, and I actually have her winning. We'll see if I hold to that, but I have her winning right now. Hannah Waddingham for Ted Lasso, Sarah Goldberg for Barry, Alex Borstein for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Juno Temple for Ted Lasso, Janelle James for Abbott Elementary, Kate McKinnon for SNL, and Meg Stalter for Hacks. Okay. I have Sarah, both Hannahs, Juno, Alex, Kate McKinnon, Janelle James, and Nick Stalter.
So we have the same ones.
Mhm.
Great. Look at that. Nailed it. No notes in this category. Really fun. I would have, if it's on merit alone, I would say no offense to Kate McKinnon, but not as much this season as previous seasons. But I think because it's her last time as a nominee in this category for SNL, she will
It's
obviously get
also
in.
80's last time, and I was like, should I put her in too?
I don't think so, because I don't think they were as in love and enamored with 80 as they were with Kate. If it was Cecily's last time, I would have put her in as well. We're both out on a limb with Meg Stalter, but I feel like it's the Carl Clemens Hopkins corollary from last year, where you're just gonna. Hacks is obviously a beloved show. It was last year. I think the response to season 2 was as strong and if not bigger visibility wise than season 1. And I think it could support her here for sure. She's hilarious on the show.
She's hilarious. Martin Short loves her.
So that's how you know it's good. And she actually has like a lot to do. It's like much more, I think, than season 1. They really did increase her role in a supporting capacity.
Yeah, and I think I've said this before. Like, I think that arc with Kayla and Jimmy, I think she won over some fans for maybe kind of mixed on her. The first season, her founder is super annoying.
Yeah.
You know?
So a couple of people we didn't mention. Cheryl Lee Ralph for Abbott Elementary. I don't think Abbott will get 2. I could see her getting it over Janelle James, but frankly, I just think Janelle James is so funny that she should get it over Cheryl Lee Ralph. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cheryl Lee Ralph gets in, because she, again, is a much more recognizable name than Janelle James.
Janelle is like the scene stealer.
Yes.
She's the populist pick. She is the Kieran Culkin and Jean Smart to Cheryl Lee Ralph's Matthew McFadden and Julianne Nicholson.
That's true. So she can get in, but I don't have her in, either of you.
So yeah, and then we don't have last year's nominee Rosie Perez.
Correct. Though no thank you, I would say.
Yeah, Rosie did her best.
No offense to Rosie at all. Love Rosie Perez. Would have nominated her for White Men Can't Jump, as we talked about on our Oscars playback, Joyce. She should have been an Oscar nominee for that. But that whole storyline was one of the reasons why I didn't think season 2 of Flight Attendant was as successful as season 1.
Yeah, that was they should have just left that in the terminal. So
wow, that's pretty good. That's so bad. That's a me joke. That's how rough that one was. Amy Ryan for Only Murders. You've talked about her.
I have.
I don't have her in. Neither do you.
No, I don't. And I feel like she would have been a great guest nominee. I feel like, but she's not eligible, obviously, because she was in too many episodes. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if like she'll just. She doesn't really feel like the type of like performance, or like that's the type of performance that would just get in. Like, I think Selena would get in before she did, even if this is like a much more open or a bigger category, and she is obviously been more recognized by the industry than Selena has, acting wise. So
let's do supporting actor, Joyce. This one, again, a lot of options, but here's what I came up with. Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso, Henry Winkler for Barry, Tony Shalhoub for Mrs. Maisel, Ben Schwartz, I'm sticking with him, for After Party, Anthony Carrigan for Barry, Bowen Yang for SNL, Paul Downs for Hacks, and Nick Mohammed for Ted Lasso.
Okay, so you have 2 nominations for the After Party.
I have series and I have Ben. Yes.
Okay. I have Henry, Brett, Anthony, Tony, Bowen. I put back in Carl Clemens Hopkins.
Wow.
Who is at 101 odds, which is like shockingly low for a reigning nominee.
Yes. So I think shows that people maybe didn't think very much of his potential as a nominee last year.
Completely irrelevant as to whether he'll get nominated.
I guess so.
He was a surprise nomination last year too. I have our guy PWD, so I have double Hacks, and I still have my guy Stephen Root, but I can't be convinced to drop him.
I mean,
I know like who I would replace him with, because there are a lot of options.
I think he could get in, honestly, and I think he had a great season. But I'm just sticking with Ted Lasso, though, and Nick Mohammed in that last spot for me. But I could be convinced that Nick should come out and Stephen Root could go in.
It's like I could replace him with the Ted guy, but now I'm like, which one?
I mean, Nick would be the guy, I think. Like, who else are you going to put in? Brendan Hunt?
Why not?
Well, nobody liked the Beard episode, and like he doesn't
But
like.
that's just one episode.
Yeah, but that's like his episode. He's not really on the show that much, you know. He's like, he's got like the Carl Clemens Hopkins role. He's just not in it that much.
And then
neither one of you don't have David Hyde Pierce, right?
No, I took him out a while ago, but yeah, I think Steven had of like the three Barry guys, like he had the least to do this season of them, and then just like a really tiny part in the finale.
And based on what they've said about the next season, it sounds like he will actually have a lot more to do, and I wonder if that's a time when he would get another nomination.
Well, I mean, like both he and Barry are arrested, so
yeah.
It's like,
and it sounds like they'll be together.
He literally didn't have a scene with any main cast member of the season. I don't think so. Like he had a phone call. He was missing one episode, and he had a hilarious phone call in the third episode with Barry. But a lot of his stuff was separate. I mean, most of them didn't interact. The cast usually doesn't interact a lot with each other, but like he was the most removed. Like, you know, usually it's like him and Barry.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think he had a scene at all.
I don't think he did. No.
Yeah, he was just saved by a beautiful goat woman a lot. So the universe was telling him to live with goats on the outskirts of Los Angeles, and he just wouldn't do that. So yeah, so I don't know if I'll keep him, because I think he is the most obvious to drop of the Barry guys.
Right.
So neither of us have Keenan.
I don't think SNL this season is going to be as prominent as it's been previously. Maybe that's a foolish idea, but and he's also not leaving. I don't think there's really any reason to get him in. I don't know.
Well, he's been nominated before.
Yeah, but I think for more significant,
like he's never left the show.
Yeah, but I think it's been like more significant. Like my thing with this season of SNL is that it's actually like not a poor season, but not an essential season. So like the reason Kate got in is going to get in, I think, is because it's her last season. But otherwise, I don't know if she would have gotten in either. You know what I mean? Like Keenan, I don't think would get in. And I think Bowen will get in just because he's like ascendant. I don't know. I mean, Keenan could get in and be no kidding.
Well, they just love Kate, and she's actually won twice.
Right.
So I don't think, even if she were staying, I don't think it would matter. I think she's getting in. Like they've dropped Keenan before. They actually dropped him the year when all three Barry guys got in. So
there you go. Maybe he'll get in. A couple people. How about this? A couple here. I'll give you. Luke Kirby from Mrs. Maisel. People do love Lenny Bruce.
It kind of sucks for him because he's ineligible for guest.
Right. He would be an easy guest nominee, I feel like. And then Brandon Scott Jones for Ghosts.
You and Ghosts.
I'm telling you, Ghosts.
What if there's a farewell nom for Andre Braugher for Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Remember Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah, I don't think anybody does though. What about a farewell nom for Pete Davidson for SNL?
I mean, he didn't get in last year.
Thanks for the memories, Pete. So this is a chaotic category. Honestly, any of these people could get in, I would be totally fine or shocked. Not shocked. I could get 5 of these wrong, honestly, and I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I think, what was it? It was 2 years ago, right? Yeah, that was the year that Mahershala Ali got in for Rami. But I think that just kind of, I mean, that was basically like a guest, a one-season guest stint, but he was eligible for supporting. And then that was also when Sterling got in for Maisel too, which was basically a guest stint, but he was eligible for supporting. So I think it depends on like how the shows perform. Like if Reservation Dogs is like a What We Do in the Shadows success, like Zane McLaren could get in like easily here, I think. I just don't know that What We Do in the Shadows has not been nominated in acting. True, but I still think they could get in. And What We Do in the Shadows could get in too. Here.
I could see.
I mean, that'll be cool. I don't know. I'm not sure about the acting nominations.
Right.
That show.
But in a situation like, I mean, I guess I would say like in a situation like this where it's just incredibly wide open, it feels. Maybe it's an option. I don't know. I'm not predicting. But, while we're talking to guest Joyce, let's do guest comedy actress. My nominees are, you'll be shocked, Sharon Stone for Flight Attendant, Jane Lynch for Only Murders, Laurie Metcalf for Hacks, Kelly Bishop for Mrs. Maisel, Harriet Sansom Harris for Hacks, and Ariana DeBose for SNL. Do you know that Ariana DeBose, Joyce, has an Oscar? And
I definitely did not see it when she was doing her Julie Andrews AFI.
No.
So, or
no
her
Tony.
Or her Globe.
Golden Globe. Yeah, she has a Golden Globe too. Pretty great. I didn't know that.
So she wants the EGOT. She can still get the E next year for the Tonys.
Yes.
Yeah. I have Jane Lynch, Laurie Metcalf, Jane Addams, Harriet Walter, Harriet Sansom Harris, so double Harriet.
Wow. And
Sharon Stone.
Wow. So you went Harry Walter for Ted Lasso and Jane Addams for Hacks. Jane Hacks. Very potential nominees. Not out on a limb there at all. I could see that happening for both.
Yeah, I had Quinta Brunson in for a Black Lady sketch show. But I don't know, I replaced her with Harriet Walter because I feel like she could just get double noms between Ted and Succession.
Very possible. And like we said, these are our final predictions until our actual final predictions for the thing. And I'll tell you what, I could probably see me putting her in as well. But I don't know. I don't have her in right now. I'm still to stick with Ariana for the purposes of our video.
Yeah, I don't have an SNL person in here.
This is again countering what I've been saying, but I do think the Ariana episode was actually like one that people were like circling as one they really enjoyed. So I think that would get her in.
Honestly, I don't know any like moment from this past season of SNL.
I couldn't name one off the top of my head, but if I was looking around, I could. We both have Harriet Sansom Harris, who just was amazing on Hacks. Seemingly is like a long shot, but based on our odds, but I think she's going to get in.
I mean, again, Hack can just take over this category because it's submitted 6 people. So it's just all Hacks. I think she's kind of like I wouldn't say she's like a long shot, but I think if you watched the show, you like really enjoyed her performance in the 5th episode.
She's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know. And Jane, she got in last year, like another surprise nomination. I think she was better this year in her one appearance than she was last year.
Yeah, so it's not a performance that moves me, but I do think you're right. She's probably better this season.
And yeah, I don't have any SNL, but no Maya Rudolph this year, so she won the last 2 years.
All right, let's do guest actor, Joyce. I have Nathan Lane for Murders, Jason Sudeikis for SNL, Bill Hader for Curb, Kieran Culkin for SNL, James Caverly for Only Murders, and Gerard Carmichael, for SNL.
Yeah, I have multiple SNL here. So I have Nathan Lane, Kieran, Jason, Bill Hader for Curb. I have Ace Cars for Atlanta, my one Atlanta acting nomination. Yeah, double noms for Alexander Skarsgård, please, just like Harriet Walter. And I'm gonna stick with Devon Sawa for Hacks.
Wow, go down with it. That's fine.
You know what? It's the guest category.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you never know what they do here.
Why not? No James Caverly. We talked about this in our typing column that we tossed off on Friday into the holiday weekend. And I think he should win, frankly, but I'm just holding out hope for the nomination.
Yeah, I thought about putting him in, so I don't know. But yeah, like I think if he gets in, he can definitely win.
Just a wonderful episode of television.
Yeah, and like that episode also deserves a directing nomination. I don't know if we'll get in for that either.
Yeah,
but it was a great episode.
Neither one of us have Trent Krim, James Lance.
I think we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago when we did the ballots, but remember when everyone last year was predicting Anthony Head.
Yeah.
And then
Here's
last year guest here, it was only 5, but 4 of them went to SNL guys.
Yeah. I have 3 SNL now. Myself. Neither one of us have John Mulaney, who is 5th in the odds and like seemingly a lock for a lot of our users. Sure.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if he gets in, sure. That's an L I'm willing to take.
Yeah, I'm fine with taking L's on these. A lot of L's. There's gonna be a lot of L's on these predictions. Joyce, now that was comedy. Now we'll go to drama. Here are my drama series nominees: Succession, Squid Game, Ozark, Better Call Saul, Stranger Things, Yellowstone, Severance, and This Is Us.
So remember when a month ago you said you were gonna keep This Is Us forever, and you did.
I did. I held myself to it, and I did.
Okay. I have Succession, Squid Game, Ozark, Better Call Saul, Stranger Things, Severance, Yellowstone, and Yellowjackets. But I debated heavily about putting in This Is Us or even something else. But there's, again, another category when it's like at least 6 are in for sure.
At least 6 are in for sure, though. I could say I could go to 10 very easily in this category and go Yellowjackets and Euphoria. I think both would be really deserving nominees. Then you also have like Pachinko. Like there's a ton of really good shows. There are actually good dramas. Comedy, I think it's deeper than comedy, let's say. But I just don't think...
I think they're both kind of similar. It's just kind of trying to figure out, like, I mean, the nominations itself are not actually a reflection of the qualities of the shows.
Sure.
It's just like what they're watching and liking. So
Yellowjackets definitely push for it. I would not be surprised to have it end up here. I just don't know if that will happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I might drop it in the end.
We've talked about this a lot in regards to like it feels a little like the second season could like be spun out of control, to put it mildly. But I think the first season,
the creators have really admitted that they read the Reddit
for ideas,
or like their writers read like the Reddit theories and everything. So,
but I will say the first season was like as its own thing, was like a very watchable, like kind of pulpy experience, and I think that could get it in on its own. But I just don't know who I would drop here, frankly. I think This Is Us for its final season will just make it back in, basically.
Yeah, like This Is Us has the legacy behind it. I don't know. I kind of feel like with Yellowjackets, like maybe they just like it more or think it's, you know, like they might be like more excited about it.
Do you think so? Here's my thinking. Here's why I would say This Is Us maybe is more of a lock than even Severance, and then maybe is it Severance versus Yellowjackets for the last spot? Because This Is Us, I think, final season, previous nominee, they could come back to it, and actually the show seemingly stuck the landing. I feel like a lot of people like enjoyed the final season, were touched by the final season, and it kind of went out on a strong note. So while you're right, I don't think it actually matters the quality of these shows. I do think that maybe will help people be like, yeah, you know what? This Is Us does deserve to be nominated. Severance and Yellowjackets, you could argue, are cut from the same cloth, and they're like sci-fi-ish, but not really. And like, are they actually in competition for that last spot? And do they both get in? You have them both in, but do you really think they're both going to get in?
I have them both in. I think Severance will get in first. If you force me to choose between both of them, like I'm not going to drop Severance.
Right.
Like I think that has visibly more support. Just, you know, a lot of blue checks. We've talked about this, tweeting about that show.
Yeah.
And they've really made Ben Stiller the creative face of that show. Like, you know, he's out there promoting it. And yeah, like Adam Scott's done a lot of press. Yeah, so if you want me to choose between those two, I would choose Severance to get in over Yellowjackets. And I do like somewhat agree like with what you've said before, that Severance kind of stole some of Yellowjackets' thunder as like the buzzy, no pun intended, like new sci-fi-ish like mystery show or whatever. And so, but I mean, you know, Yellowjackets still got 2 WGA nominations. It missed the SAG ensemble nomination. I just remember people were like waiting with bated breath when they said Yellow, and then it was Stone. not Jackets. I don't know. I feel like I mean I could just see it getting like Melanie Linsky.
Yeah. Why don't we go to right there now, Joyce? The best actress in a drama series. My nominees are, get ready to laugh. Laura Linney for Ozark, Zendaya for Euphoria, Melanie Linsky for Yellowjackets, Kelly Riley for Yellowstone, Mandy Moore for This Is Us, and Britt Lower for Severance.
You mean Lauer?
Britt Lower for Severance.
So you put her in finally.
I did. I took Jennifer Aniston out. I mean, no one is talking about the morning show. Not even Jennifer Aniston, it seems. So I think.
How dare you? She did Actors on Actors with Sebastian Stan.
I think she could. I think Britt would get in. I could see her getting in, especially if Severance is like a hit, because like we've talked about, I think you mentioned like her performance in the finale is like something that people like really respond to, and her performance throughout the whole show is just very likable. Which I mean, I know is like loaded, but she's just a very watchable, like likable actor, and she is like to every person of the show. She's like your entry point in, more so than Adam, and I think that'll get her in.
I think she is good in the finale. But I also kind of feel like people are conflating the big reveal with everything. Like I think that scene when she like looks at all the pictures is really well done.
But I mean, that's what I think people are going to remember, and that's why I think she'll get in.
I always like felt like she could be like a season 2 nominee more than a season 1.
I thought that until this moment, and the reason I did was just because I'm like, I don't know, the morning show. I don't think that
actors like the morning show.
I know they do, but I'm like, they might not. They're just not. I don't know. The second season, I don't think connected as well as the first. I don't know.
I mean, I think season 1 was better than season 2. Yes, but season 1 got 5 acting nominations, no series nomination. It got 5 acting nominations and 1 win.
Right.
Like I can honestly seeing both Jen and Reese get in here.
I mean, maybe I wouldn't be surprised. I guess
I have Laura, Zendaya, Jennifer, Melanie. I put Sandra Oh back in.
Wow.
And Mandy.
Nice. So you don't have.
I don't know what to do with the Killing Eve ladies.
And you don't have Kelly Riley?
No. So yeah, because I could see both. I can see them still going for both Jodie Comer and Sandra Oh, or neither of them, or just one of them. But then if it's just one, which one do you choose? So I have Sandra right now.
Right. Interesting category.
Yeah, I don't know who, if like anyone besides like Laura and Zendaya are like locked in here.
I think Melanie Linsky's almost locked, though I could see a case for Juliette Lewis. And a lot of people have like, not a lot, but some people have like suggested she could get a nominee too, and that Yellowjackets could be a double nominee here. If it does get 2 nominations this category, I think it would absolutely get a series nomination to me, because then the show is pretty strong. But I don't think Juliette Lewis is a lead actor on the show. I think she's more supporting than lead.
I mean, they also kind of just evenly split to me. So I mean, like I don't care. Submit wherever you want to submit, but that's like, I don't think like that is the screen time or whatever is like relevant. But yeah, like Melanie has become the face of the show.
Right.
So
for drama actor, Joyce, I have Brian Cox for Succession, Jeremy Strong for Succession, Lee Young-jae for Squid Game, Jason Bateman for Ozark, Sterling K. Brown for This Is Us, and Kevin Costner for Yellowstone.
So you put Kevin in?
I did. I was torn. I put Kevin in instead of Adam Scott.
So
and
you
no Bob.
Dropped Adam for Britt, basically.
Yes, I did.
I have Jeremy Bryan, Lee Jung-jae, Jason Bateman. I'm gonna keep Oldenkirk. I don't care. I'm gonna go down the ship. And Sterling.
So neither of us have Adam.
Yes.
I guess I thought the reason I didn't have Adam is similarly why I feel like Jim Carrey never got nominated for Eternal Sunshine, is when you're playing like a sad sack guy, like people are just not, they're just like, you're not, it's funny, he's the lead and I guess you're rooting for him, but you're also not like he's not like a guy you're like really like want to have a beer with, let's say. It's a little too depressed.
Yeah. I think he's good in it, and I think he could get in the way of just kind of like, oh, this is your first nomination. Like, you've been on so many TV shows over the years, you know, and like this is the one they'll find. Is this your ticket? So I wouldn't be surprised if he got in.
I mean, make this clear. I would absolutely love him to get in. He's awesome on the show. I think he's so good. I love Adam Scott in general. But yeah, we'll see if the voters are as enamored.
And also, like we were saying before about like how actors love the morning show, like they really kind of respond to that style of acting. Severance doesn't have that same type of acting, so I don't know. I could see it kind of being like a Succession thing, when remember like Succession got no acting nominations in season 1, and it's still not that type of like in your face kind of acting like the morning show is, even though Brian is yelling like "Born on the floor" and stuff.
Well, that's why I've had him in for a long time. I don't have him in here in my final calculus, but John C. Reilly for Winning Time I think could actually get in. It's such a loud performance, very big, and I think the show was popular, especially in LA. So,
but you don't have it in series.
No, and I don't have him in here either. But I'm just saying, like, it would not like if what you're saying is right. Like, that's like the morning show-esque acting, I think, is on Winning Time. Big performances.
Yeah, it's like big and just kind of like emotionally laden, because like, you know, the acting on Mayor of Easttown and Morning Show are not the same.
No. Right.
But it's still kind of, I think like the acting on Mayor, and the reason I won 3 acting awards without even winning series last year is like it's very emotionally heavy, and they make you connect to those characters even if it's not as showy as the morning show's acting.
Supporting actress in a drama, Joyce. We have 8 nominees. Here are my 8. Julia Garner for Ozark, Sarah Snook for Succession, Young Ho-yeon for Squid Game, J. Smith Cameron for Succession, Christina Ricci for Yellowjackets, Sydney Sweeney for Euphoria, Sadie Sink for Stranger Things, and Rhea Seehorn for Better Call Saul. Even though she did the "you're wrong" on Twitter, I still think she
blamed
should get
it on her
nominated.
phone.
Yeah, I still think she get nominated.
I know that hurt me personally.
So those are my 8. Love this. I actually love this category. I think all these performances are really good.
This is a very loaded category.
It is.
I think really only the top 3 are safe. So I have Sarah, Julia, and Jung Ho-yeon. I think like they're in. And then I have J. Smith Cameron, Kim Joo-rung. I put back in Millie Bobby Brown.
Wow.
I have Patty and Christina Ricci. So I dropped my girl Ray, not because she used the wrong "your," but I'd rather like, because I've always predicted her and then she never gets in. So what if I don't predict her and she gets in?
That's not bad. So you have multiple Squid Games here.
I have multiple Squid Games. I have multiple Succession. And
you have Millie Bob Brown over Sadie Sink. Now, I understand that would be a name check thing, because I know you're not a Stranger Things person.
Did you watch the 17 hours?
Oh, hell yeah, I did. And Sadie Sink rules in the last episode, even though I know it's not eligible and whatever. But it was clearly, I mean, if you watch the show, I think it was, and voting is long gone, so it doesn't matter. But I think it was clearly Sadie Sink's season from the show perspective. She had like the most drama and really stepped up and did a lot. And I just think she's awesome on it. So I put her in instead of Millie Bobby Brown. I think Millie Bobby Brown is actually quite good on it still, but
I mean, you could have both of them in.
I had both of them in. I actually took Millie out for Rhea.
Yeah, I just put her because I was like, I'm just gonna drop Ray. Sorry to her.
I keep saying it wrong, Ray.
So I was just like, I'll just put Millie in her place.
Sure.
Because a former nominee, she wasn't nominated the last season. But yeah, and obviously the season dropped right before voting started. So I don't know. I think like, you know, they're like Stranger Things has never maxed out on acting nominations. Like for the regular cast, they've just gone to her and David. So I don't know about the Sadie of it all.
I mean, I think it's a hope and a prayer, but I don't know. I think she should get, if you're watching the show, she inarguably is the best performance on this season. So like if it's based on the actual show and people watching it, I think she should get in. But if it's just like, hey, I like Stranger Things, who should I put here? Oh, Millie Bobby Brown. All right, that's fine. Like who knows? I don't know how people vote.
Someone I know said she was overrated in Dear Billy, so.
What? That's blasphemy.
You can take it up with them. I have no horse in this race. I don't care. So
I'll have to take them. I mean, that's deranged. You don't have Sydney Sweeney, do you?
No.
Sydney Sweeney rules on Euphoria. I think I've said that about 100 times, but hopefully she gets in. It's a wonderful performance.
Euphoria, I feel like it will just perform similar to how it did in season 1.
Well, I think it could get Sydney Sweeney. I don't disagree, though. I don't think it's a broad. It's a very, very popular show that does not have a broad appeal among the television academy.
And I think it's also kind of volatile amongst its own fan base, because I feel like when it was airing, even its own stands were just like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Like every 5 minutes. So
right.
And then like another 5 minutes later, it's like, this is the best thing ever. It's like that type of thing. It's like total whiplash.
Supporting actor, Joyce. Here are my 8 nominees. I bet you we have a lot of the same ones, so I think you might differ on one. Let's see. I have Matthew McFadden for Succession, Kieran Culkin for Succession, Billy Crudup for The Morning Show, Nicholas Braun for Succession, John Turturro for Severance, Alan Ruck for Succession, Giancarlo Esposito for Better Call Saul, and Jonathan Banks for Better Call Saul.
You're going hard on Better Call Saul more than I am.
I know. And I don't have it in for Siri. Oh, I don't have it in for Bob.
They dropped Jonathan last time, right?
Yes. I was just like, I think the logical one is Young Soo for Squid Game, but I was just like, I don't know. How many Squid Game actors are gonna get in, I guess.
Well, I have 2 of them in here.
I know. Like that would be the logical. That's it, yeah.
So I have Kieran, Matthew, Billy, Nick. I have Oh Young-soo. I have Giancarlo Esposito because they just love nominating him. It doesn't matter what show it is. I have Alan Ruck, and then I put in Park Hae-soo.
Nice. So you're going hard on Squid Game. It's the most popular show in the world. The idea is that everyone is watching.
Being similar to, like, last year when The Handmaids and Crown actors just took over the supporting categories. Like I can see that kind of happening with Succession and Squid Game.
I mean, not a bad bet, I would say. No, not a bad bet.
So,
no David Harbour for either of us. He would, as you mentioned.
No, and I had Chris Sullivan in for like 2 weeks, and then I dropped him for Park Hae-soo.
Yeah, Chris Sullivan and David Harbour are also there in the odds. Eric Dane for Euphoria. Joyce, I interviewed him. Lovely man. Don't have him in.
So you don't have Christopher Walken.
I don't think that's a performance that would get nominated, frankly. He's not in it very much. I think Turturro is the more exciting performance of the 2 of them.
Yeah, I think if like Walken gets in, it'll just because like it's the total name check, like Christopher Walken, like John Turturro did the heavy lifting of that relationship.
Yeah. If Christopher Walken was a guest actor, I'd have him in.
Yeah.
He was in it
like that's the most name checky of all the acting categories. What if remember 2 years ago the person who knocked out Bob Odenkirk and lead actor Steve Carell makes it in here in supporting
for his farewell season of The Morning Show.
You know what his tape is going to be.
That would be incredible. I would love that.
Literally driving off a cliff.
I would just love that, but I don't have it happening. For guest Joyce actress, I have Harriet Walder for Succession, Lee Yu-mi for Squid Game, Hope Davis for Succession, Marcia Gay Harden for The Morning Show, Jackie Weaver for Yellowstone, and Sanaa Lathan for Succession.
Oh, you put Sanaa in.
I did. I had Elaine May in for The Good Fight, and then I was like, you know what? People don't watch broadly The Good Fight, and I just feel like, no offense to The Good Fight, I'm like, everyone watches Succession. They're just gonna just name check her in, I think.
Yeah, I have triple Succession. Lee Yu-mi, Marcia Gay Harden for The Morning Show, and Jackie Weaver for Yellowstone.
So we have the same ones. This seems like pretty set to me. That's the top 6 in our odds too.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, Elaine May, that would be awesome. Like, freaking legend, never nominated, and she's playing Ruth Bader Ginsburg in like a dream sequence basically. So maybe if like people just see that she's playing Ruth Bader Ginsburg, they would have checked her off.
I could see it. That was why I had it, but I was just like, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of qualifiers to have it happen.
I still feel like even if you're gonna name check someone that way, like you had no idea she was playing Ruth Bader Ginsburg
Yeah.
on that show, like I think you would still have to be watching the show or like have to check out the show. You have to still like, I think that's why, like Barb got into Gas. Remember Barb? Stranger
Justice
Things.
for Barb.
Yeah. Like it's like because like people watch that show and they like that character, even if like you might not think she's Emmy worthy.
Correct.
So
yeah,
I don't know, they're so lazy in Guest.
That's the thing. Speaking of lazy, let's do the drama guest actor. I have Adrian Brody, our boy, winning for Succession. I have Cromwell for Succession, Ron Cephas Jones for This Is Us, Martin Short for The Morning Show, Alexander Skarsgård for Succession, and then Coleman Domingo for Euphoria.
So I did it. I put 4 Succession guys in here.
Wow.
So I also put in Justin Kirk.
Wow. I'm so proud of you.
Justin Kirk, I know. And then I have Martin Short and Ron Cephas Jones as the other non-Succession guys.
So we talked about this in our typing column. Justin Kirk on Succession, arguably the best performance of the guest actors. No offense to Adrian Brody, who also is incredible, I think, as Josh Aronson. But I love Justin Kirk on it. It would be so great to get him in. And then we got at least one person on Twitter was upset we never mentioned
our we did like 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Ryan Moyed, we did.
I love him.
We didn't mention him in the column.
No, because I don't think Stewie's not in it very much in this season. And not compared to the other 4 guys that we're talking about. I don't think there's enough for him to do.
Yes, he's of them, he's like the least prominent, also the least well known. I don't think that's a deterrent of like if they just like are going ham on Succession, they could just check him off along with them. It's like, and we like everyone loves Stewie, so I wouldn't be shocked if he got in, but I just feel like the guest categories just favor big names. So like James has already been nominated before, and for Succession, and yeah, like the other like A Scars, like the season, like his whole arc is the end of the season, so it's like that just leaves an impression on you as well. And like obviously Adrian is a bigger name, and Justin Kirk, lesser name than those 3 guys, but a bigger name than Arian Moyed, like who I love. Like I love Stewie. So
Stewie rules.
Yeah.
What if I put Justin Kirk in now and took Coleman Domingo out? I know these are my final. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Coleman Domingo. I interviewed you. You were wonderful, but no.
Yes, Justin is at 101.
I'm putting him in. He absolutely rules. He was one of that episode I really loved. And he is so good on it.
He feels like
incredible.
He's like the Succession version of Harriet Sansom Harris. It's like everyone's talking about Laurie Metcalf, and like everyone's talking about like A Stars and like Adrian, for Succession. But just
love it. All right, Joyce. Now we're into the final group of nominees that we're going to predict here. The limited series, which is Unhinged, as we've talked about. Now in our odds here, there are 6 slots, but there's only going to be 5 nominees. So I'm only going to read you the 5 I have. For series, Dopesick, The White Lotus, Maid, The Dropout, and Staircase.
I mean, I have those same 5, so.
I took out We Crashed and 1883. I had to give up The Ghost.
I think most people are going to have this 5, and I feel like it's going to be wrong.
I think there's room for it to be wrong. I actually think if there was one to not make it, it would be The Dropout. We've talked about this. I don't think it has the legs on The Dropout. Do not feel as they were as strong as some of these other shows. So I think if The Dropout missed, I think Under Banner of Heaven would get in actually. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's like so many options for those final 2 spots, because you could have Under Banner of Heaven. You could have 1883, but I can see just getting series and then like no acting too. You could have Station 11, your fave. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not like totally sold on The Staircase either, but I feel like it will like get its lead actor in like Colin Firth, and it'll probably get writing and directing.
I think actually it peaked at the right time. It feels like it was very, very popular here towards the end, and it's like kind of last one of these in, that kind of corollary where it's just like, oh, the last thing I watched was The Staircase and I really liked it, and all these famous people are in it. And then I read about it because it was controversial, because the filmmakers of the original documentary were mad at the show, and all of that is good. I think all of that helps like generate buzz.
I also think like this is like the docuseries, like we've talked about this before, that was huge like 8 years ago whenever it premiered. So I think like if you watched that and were obsessed with that and had also been like following the case over the years, like you would have tuned into this.
Yeah. Joyce, this is IP people are familiar with. And I think that's going to help.
Yes.
So that's why I have it in.
There's no Sporus and Nero.
And I think if I had to pick a 6, it would be Under Banner of Heaven, with the 7th being 1883. That's my top 7. Not that we're doing 7.
What if one of the 2021 trio gets snubbed?
I think if one of them were going to get snubbed, it would be Made. I just feel like White Lotus is so many acting nominees potentially that will get in. And I think Dope Sick people just really like as like an achievement. And it's about something that people are still like, it's about a current event. Not that Made is not about like an actual issue, but I think like Dope Sick is about like a current event issue, I guess.
Yeah, I would say Made is about an
Ongoing.
Underreported
yes.
and undercovered.
Yes, a systemic ongoing issue.
Yes.
And Dope Sick is a rip from the headlines show.
Yeah, I think like the thing they both have over the White Lotus is like they're about, they cover more serious subject matters, and engender more sympathy. But yeah, made Miss PGA.
Right.
I mean, they all kind of
miss certain things.
Yeah, like Dope Sick Miss WGA. Right. No, White Lotus hit everything, but it didn't win anything. So
White Lotus, I feel like White Lotus, I feel like has a thing that maybe is potential, is that because it's a satire and because some people don't get it when they're actually part of being made fun of by the satire, that it allows people to be like, look at those idiots, even though they might be the idiots.
That's also what benefits Squid Game. Like,
yeah.
People, I think there are a lot of people who just watch it as like a fun, violent like game, unfolding on a TV show, when it's about capitalism. Like, it's basically about the same things Succession is.
Right.
So yeah.
For actor, I'm sorry, no, next would be TV movie. We could do this.
Rudu, Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
So the nominees I have here are Survivor, The Fallout, Ray Donovan the movie, Chippendale, and Fresh.
Yeah, I have those 5.
Great. No notes here. I think Survivor could win, but Chippendale
should win.
The most fun. Great job. Congratulations to those nominees. Hopefully, we'll see. For actress in a limited series or movie, Joyce, I have Amanda Seyfried in The Dropout, Margaret Qualley for Maid, Lily James for Pam and Tommy, Julia Roberts for Gaslit, Toni Collette for The Staircase, and then I kept Anne Hathaway in for We Crashed.
Wow, you put Julia and Toni in.
I did. And Lily. I didn't have any of them in. I went completely off. We'll do this later for actor too. I went completely off Scenes from a Marriage. I do not think people are going to remember that one like they do these other shows. I don't even think it was well received at the time. And while Jessica Chastain is the reigning Best Actress Oscar winner, I don't feel like she's been really pushing very hard for this nomination, let's say.
Well, she's filming a movie right now with Anne Hathaway.
Correct. But Anne Hathaway found time to be on the cover of multiple magazines and do multiple interviews.
Another one last week.
Correct. So I don't think Jessica, she's third in the odds, seemingly like very comfortable in her nomination, according to us, but I don't believe it.
So I have Amanda, Margaret, Toni, Jess, Lily, and Julia, but I'm also thinking about putting the other Julia, Garner, back in.
So I had her 7th. I want to just go down with Anne. I'm sorry. I'm going to go down with the ship. She's amazing on We Crashed. It's so good.
Yes.
It's like one of her best performances. So I'm going to leave her there. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I know I'm on the right side of history. That's all I know.
It's true. Like she and Julia should be locked. They should be as locked as Amanda and Margaret are.
Yes.
But they're not. And I think if those shows were on another network, they would be.
Yeah, probably true.
So we don't have a ton of people here.
So like, Julia's pretty high in the odds. I don't have Jess Chastain. We don't have Viola Davis or Michelle Pfeiffer.
I mean, I love Michelle. I hope if one of the Flotuses gets in, it's her.
So. We don't have Gillian Anderson from Flotus as well. We don't have Claire Foy.
I had her for a while, but I just dropped her a few weeks ago.
We don't have Renee Zellweger for The Thing About Pam. No one from 1883 or Impeachment. A lot of options.
Yeah, there's Olivia Colman, Landscapers. There's Jenna Ortega from The Fallout. They did a lot of campaigning for that.
They did, and she's actually really great. And I love her in Scream, which you haven't seen, but she's awesome. Love Jenna Ortega.
There's Jessica Biel, who I actually really liked in Candy.
Yes. Daisy Edgar Jones for Fresh.
Yes. Fave Allison Oliver.
Would love to have her in. She's awesome, but no one's talking about that show, so sadly no.
Yeah, again, I've said this a million times, but I would not be surprised to see any combo of these 25 names we just read after or like with Amanda and Margaret, because I think those are the only two sure things here.
Yes. For actor Joyce, another chaotic lot of combos, but here's what I ended up with. Michael Keaton for Dopesick, Andrew Garfield for Under the Banner of Heaven, Colin Firth for The Staircase, Jared Leto for We Crashed, Samuel L. Jackson for Last Days of Totally Gray, and Sebastian Stan for Pam and Tommy.
I mean, I just have Oscar instead of Jared.
So I'm off on the Scenes for Marriage. I think that's not happening. And Jared, man, he rules on this We Crashed. So much fun. And I think if I have Anne in, I have to have Jared in.
So how many pairs do you have?
I have Anne and Jared. I have Colin and Toni Collette. I have Sebastian Stan and Lily James. And
I have 3 pairs too, but I have the Scenes pair.
Right.
But I think if I drop one of them, I would drop Jess first.
Yeah.
Like I honestly so I put Sam in.
Me too. He's been going for it.
I dropped my guy Paul Bettany, who I love, but I don't know about Sam, but I was just like, I need someone in the 6th spot, so I just did him. And Ben Foster's still 4th in the odds.
I just don't know. He's gone for it too. He's done a lot of press and he's very good in the movie. I just think that I don't think it's a service to him to be in a show in a category with series. I just don't know if people are going to be considering it as seriously as they do the series nominees.
Yeah, it's quite sad how just TV movies have plummeted in standing.
Yeah.
At the end.
So you would know this because you're smart and actually research things. Was Hugh Jackman nominated for Bad Education?
Yeah.
So that's the case here for Ben Foster, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think he would win if he got in. So the last person to win for a movie here was Michael Douglas for Behind a Candelabra, and that was 9 years ago. Which
should have been a theatrical movie that would have won him an Oscar.
Yeah, I mean, you've said that Ben Foster could have won an Oscar.
I mean, he could have, frankly, with the right campaign, and especially this year, I don't know, he could have won.
But yeah, this just favors limited series.
It does. Basically. That's why I don't have.
I mean, I don't really count Hamilton last year. That's not a TV movie.
I mean, if Ben Foster gets in, I'd be very happy. It is a great, very heavy, very serious movie in league with a lot of the 90s Oscar movies we've talked about. I feel like it would have fit very comfortably in that era of movies. It's a very old-fashioned, mainstream down the middle historical drama about the Holocaust. And he's great. And it's very well done. But I just don't think, I think the bias against TV movies is going to hurt him here, but we'll see.
So the other Oscar Isaac from Moon Knight is in 11th.
I mean, I think that's part of the reason why I don't think scenes from, I mean, I know you could put them, I don't know. I think that Moon Knight pulled focus from Scenes from Marriage and was equally not as interested. Audiences maybe were more polarized on Scenes from Marriage than they were Moon Knight, but I don't know. I don't have either. What about Sam Elliott?
Jane Campion's favorite actor, Sam Elliott.
Yes.
I mean, I actually like thought about him. I was like, what if I just put him in my
What about The Power of That Dog? I guess we'd say. Let's do supporting actress here. The nominees I have are Jennifer Coolidge for The White Lotus, Andie MacDowell for Maid, Caitlin Dever for Dopesick, Connie Britton for The White Lotus, Juliette Binoche for Staircase, Alexandra Daddario for The White Lotus, and Anika Noni Rose for Maid.
Nice. I have Jennifer, Caitlin, Connie, Andy, Alexandra. I put in Mare Winningham for Dopesick. And I still have Laurie Metcalf.
Nice. I love Laurie on the show. I just don't think she's in it very much. That's the only reason
I don't like, I mean, I could easily put someone else in, but I don't know who. Like, I could put like Anika, I guess.
I put Anika in just because I think, why not? Honestly, I don't know. I was like, I can't put Laurie in because I don't think she's in it very much, even though she's good. And I don't think Ellen Burstyn for First Lady is happening. So then it was like Anika.
Where is she in our odds? Is she still 7th?
Yes.
Wild.
I know.
I mean, they did nominate her for a 14-second performance once. So
right.
Yeah, I don't. So I replaced Rosario Dawson with Mare.
I'll give you three people I thought about that I could still switch in with my final picks. They all are 100-1 odds, so nobody is picking these people. But Parker Posey for The Staircase, Sydney Sweeney for White Lotus, and Daisy Edgar Jones for Under the Banner of Heaven.
I really like Daisy. I don't know how big that show will be.
Right. So I almost put Sydney in, honestly, of these three, because The White Lotus is still incredibly popular here, and I think she's awesome on The White Lotus. I really, really love her performance on that show as well. But I just can't imagine Sydney Sweeney getting double nominations.
I've also thought about Edie Falco for impeachment, which we've talked about. That
yes,
she could just get in. This category is not empty per se, but it's just kind of not very locked down. Like, I think everyone's just most comfortable with Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
And that's it. So yeah, I don't know. There's Chloe Sevigny from The Girl from Plainville, but I'm not even predicting Elle Fanning for that.
I'm switching in Sydney Sweeney. I'm gonna do it. Sorry, Anika Noni Rose. Apologies to
Anika. Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't you have Danielle Detweiler for like a minute?
I did before this morning. The reason I love her on Station 11, and she seemingly has been out there as well. I just don't think Station 11 has been very widely watched. And it's also it's such a serious, sad show. There are moments of humanity, obviously, and I really, really loved it. But I'm just like, man, are you going to want to sit down and watch it if you haven't caught it? If you were a voter? Like,
I also feel like when it premiered, some people may have just been like, I'm not going to watch this now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not ready for like something like COVID.
Right. That's the issue. For supporting actor, Joyce, in a limited series or movie, my nominees are Matthew Good for The Offer. Got him winning, 100-1 odds. Murray Bartlett for The White Lotus. Naveen Andrews for The Dropout. Seth Rogen for Pam and Tommy. Michael Stuhlbarg for Dopesick. Steve Zahn for White Lotus, and Jake Lacy for White Lotus.
So you have 3 White Lotus guys and 4 White Lotus girls.
Yes.
Okay. So 7-time acting nominee.
Yes. It's the Hamilton of this year.
You might as well just put in Natasha Rothwell.
Maybe I will.
I have Murray, Naveen, Michael Stuhlbarg, who I had for the staircase, but I've now switched back to Dopesick.
Nice.
William H. Macy. I still have my guy, Wyatt Russell, Under the Banner of Heaven. Matthew Good and Steve Zahn.
Nice. So you don't have Seth Rogen, you don't have Jake Lacy.
No, I never had Seth.
I think Seth is vulnerable. He's pretty solid in our odds. But I mean,
I'm not even confident in Sebastian and Lily, and I'm
right. You and I both went with Stuhlbarg over Peter Sarsgaard, which I think is the right move.
I mean, that's also because I don't want to drop Wyatt.
Well, Sarsgaard, Stuhlbarg plays like more of the villain, I guess, right? Like he's like the Sackler guy.
It's like I go back and forth on Stuhlbarg because I mean he could also just get in here twice. I don't know, but like I had him in for the staircase for a while because I was like, that's like because of like recency bias, and he's more prominent in the staircase. But I don't know. So now I only have 2 staircase acting nominations.
Right.
And then I kind of just went back to him for Dopesick because I was like, it's older. I'm just falling back on that argument. But I don't know. Maybe he won't get in at all. So
we don't have Nick Robinson for Maid, who's pretty high in our odds.
Yeah, I don't have him. I don't know about him. Like I can see Maid getting multiple acting nominations and him being left out.
Same. I could see that too. And then I'll make the case for Jake Lacy. He rules. That's my case.
I love Jake Lacy.
And I think him and Steve Zahn, again, especially if the television academy, the reason I started put both of them in is because it's a satire that's basically mocking they're both the generations of these white morons, right? So like Steve Zahn is like the Gen X and Jake Lacy is like the millennial, and they're both assholes in different ways. And I think if you're watching it and you're in the Gen X memory, you might be like, I'm so much better than Steve Zahn, but really you're not. And I think with Jake Lacy as a millennial, I'm like, man, that guy's such a douche, such a white privileged asshole. And then you're like, that person. So I think that helps here. I think that's why they'll both get in.
Or what if you just hate both of them and you don't think that deeply?
I don't think so. I think you're gonna be like, these are great. So I got them both in.
So you still have Matthew in first.
I do. If he gets nominated, he is winning. I 100% think that. I don't understand how.
I think he can win if he gets in. I think
he has to get in.
It's
so
the most difficult part for him is getting in.
Yeah. So we'll keep him up there. Hopefully he gets in and wins. I don't think it should be, frankly, I don't think it should be any chance that he gets in. I think especially with this list of nominees or potential nominees, he is just going for it in a way that nobody else here in the category is.
Yeah, it's kind of his performance is the most fun of these.
So fun. Yes. And Murray Bartlett, you could argue, is fun also. He takes a shit in a suitcase.
Yeah, but also like he's not like fun in sort of like I want to have a beer with him way.
Yeah, he's sad fun.
Yeah, like Bob Evans or like Matthew Good. Bob Evans is like you want to just like hang out with him for a day, you know? And I'm sure a ton of people in the Academy knew the real Bob Evans.
Right. That's the other thing.
So
that's it, Joyce. We did it. We got through 25 categories. I only said a few names wrong and got the day wrong twice, but pretty good, I'd say.
We'll teach you math.
I think like this is a solid B here. We did. So so we'll be back. I assume we'll rate the day of the nominations, which are Tuesday, July 12th.
July 12th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, because the Emmys are nice.
So like nice. The Oscars need to do that, really.
I mean, it doesn't really matter for us because we're on the East Coast, so it's like 8:30 a.m. for me. It's like that's totally fine. Yeah,
but the Oscars should do it. I like 11:30 is great. You get totally fine. So we'll be back after that and talk all about what we got
and
wrong.
How wrong we were. And
what kind of snubs. I feel like there's going to be, I'm very excited because I think it's just going to be complete chaos.
It is.
Just complete chaos.
And then people are going to completely overreact to something, multiple things really, because like when do they not? So what if, like, are you going to make any last minute changes in the next 7 days?
I don't think so. I mean, like, I feel like I made them here with like Sydney Sweeney before I load. I might just go down with the ship here. Maybe I'll like scroll. I'll like save through to update. So it looks like we updated them, but didn't really change anything. I think I'm going to stick with this. Like you said, there's only so many ways you could go. Like a lot of these feel like they're set. Maybe there's like one or two that would be like open to interpretation, but I guess we'll see. I'm not going to make that many changes.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll be back, Joyce. I guess we'll type about this on Friday. We'll maybe say
make another change then.
Yeah, probably. And then we'll talk about it next week. All right. Bye, Joyce.
Bye.